come rain or shine, we will enshrine. I'm so grateful for the example and representative leadership of this coalition of freedom fighters, justice seekers, table shakers, and community builders. I'll remind you of the call and response I like to bring into this space whenever we're together. How long have we been waiting? Too long. Too long. 100 years. How long? Too long. It is emboldening and fortifying to see this crowd, this union of people representing every walk of life, people in the dawn, the prime, and the twilight of their life who feel a stakehold in this issue. Women have been treated as second-class citizens in this society. You know that because we have to litigate, legislate, and mobilize for that which is a birthright for men. And so we're here as an intergenerational, multi-ethnic coalition of people who hold a shared desire to use every tool available to keep the momentum up. I like to say we are being exhaustive because the women of this country are exhausted. Definitely, being a girl, being a woman is not for punks. But we want to continue to build upon the legacy of revolutionary activists like Alice Paul, Shirley Chisholm, Pauli Murray, and a long list of others. Today, I want to make it plain that we are not only paying homage to the trailblazers that initiated this conversation, but we are also calling out a century of legislated and unrelenting oppression that has left our women and LGBTQ plus siblings unprotected and vulnerable. How long have we been waiting?
Too long.
100 years too long. Of fearing for job security, 100 years too long of unaddressed sexual violence, 100 years too long of fighting the war against our bodies, 100 years too long of being relegated to a footnote in history. Enough is enough.
Enough.
This year alone, Congress has used the power of legislation to introduce multiple ERA-focused resolutions. Again, we are being exhaustive because the women of this country are exhausted. Congress used the power of the pen to call on the administration for their partnership in this fight. Congress has used the power of the pen, the power of convening to introduce the first ever ERA caucus that is now the 5th largest caucus in Congress. Shout out to my sister in service, Cori Bush. We're going to do everything in our power to affirm the Equal Rights Amendment as the 28th Amendment in the United States Constitution. As I walk the halls of Congress, I am reminded that we have a duty to the people of this country. The people of the United States believe in equal rights, and it is time that we codify the Equal Rights Amendment in the United States Constitution. 80 countries around the globe have already provided these protections for gender equality. What are we waiting for? The women of this country have done their job. We put in our work. We have been the defenders of democracy. We have been the patriots, the justice seekers, the truth tellers. And states have done their job in ratification. And now it is time for Congress to do its job. Again, this is not a fight of benevolence or charity. This is a fight in pursuit of reciprocity. This is what we have earned and what we are owed. 100 years is too damn long. We need, how long?
Too long.
We need the ERA now. And now I would like to bring to the podium, it is so good to see her again. One of my favorite good troublemakers, you know, who has been one of the staunchest, most vigilant voices in this fight. We thank you for carrying the mantle, and we thank you for your sisterhood, for your leadership. It is so good to have you back here at the People's House. And now I'll introduce Congresswoman and also my former chair on the Committee for Oversight and Reform. It's wonderful to see you, Madam Chair. I'll always call you that. And we'll bring you to the podium. Thank you.
We're going to get it passed this year.
That's
right.
That's right.
100 years and not one more. 100 years and not one more. 100 years and not one more. I'm former Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney, and I introduced the Equal Rights Amendment 11 times while I was in Congress. And now, as the Eleanor Roosevelt leader at the Roosevelt Center for Public Policy. I am here with Hunter College students who started an ERA club, and we're all working for it. And as chair and one of the founders of the ERA Coalition, which now has over 300 organizations supporting the Equal Rights Amendment, which translates into over 80 million people, members of those organizations, 80 million votes. And we have never become or never been as close as we are now to getting it recognized as the 28th Amendment than this year. I know because I've been here for 30 years working on it. And we've never been more popular. When it passed in 1970s, it was at 60% of approval. Now it's at 80 to 85, only preceded by the economy. It is an amazingly popular now. And we've never needed it so badly. We've been fighting for 100 years, and the Dobbs decision confirmed our greatest fears. The Dobbs decision, they used to chip away at our rights. They literally bulldozed our right to choose into the ground. 30 million women in states lost their access to abortion. And they can bulldoze other rights back. We need women in the Constitution. We do not need more legal fights. And there's only one way to protect women and grant us equality of opportunity, and that is to put women in the Constitution. There is only one way: put women in the Constitution. The ERA is the only way, and we have started a petition drive. Support us by going to www.sign4era.org and sign the petition. We have over 80,000 signatures. We need millions. We've met all the qualifications and requirements of Article 5 of the Constitution. 2/3 vote in the House and the Senate. 38 states have ratified it. The great Virginia in 2020 pushed us over the line. As far as I'm concerned, we're recognized. Join the 80,000 people who've already signed our petition. Share it with your friends. Let's get together. Let's support Ayanna's bill and push it over the finish line this year. And if we don't succeed, let's hold everyone who voted against it responsible. Let's run against them and defeat them and replace them with someone who supports equal rights. Thank you.
We will take note of those that are active partners or complicit in our oppression and marginalization, and then come election time, we will put them on notice. So we're taking note, and then we'll put them on notice if we have to. Speaking of the great state of Virginia, we are in the presence of one of my favorite trailblazers who's been on the front lines of this fight. We have at the desk in the House, and I would encourage all of you to ask all of your members of Congress to sign our discharge petition, which is how in the 1970s on this anniversary that a vote was forced in the first place. It was using the tool of a discharge petition. So please ask all of your members of Congress to sign that discharge petition, which is at the desk. This member of Congress was one of the first to sign that discharge, representing the great state of Virginia, Congresswoman Jennifer McClellan.
Thank you, and good afternoon. I think our days here are long, but we are here in the fight to say 100 years is long enough. It is past time for the ERA to be published in the Constitution. The states did their job.
That's right.
The states did their job. First Congress did its job. The states did its job. Things got stalled. But as you heard, the Commonwealth of Virginia became the 38th and final state needed to ratify the ERA. I was proud to lead that fight in our state Senate at the time. And now it is time for the archivist to do their job and publish the ERA. We don't think anything else is necessary, but to the extent it is, Congresswoman Pressley has taken care of that with her resolution, and the Congress will do our job again. But it is important, and it's poetic justice that you have two representatives from the Commonwealths of Virginia and Massachusetts. Because when you think of our founding fathers, you think of Virginia and Massachusetts. Virginia, which was the birthplace of American democracy, but also the birthplace of American slavery. And when the first women settlers were recruited to Virginia in the same year that the first representative democracy was founded in 1619, in the same year the first recorded Africans came to our shores as property, those women came to Virginia and they had no rights. When they came as wives, and they could not vote, they could not own property, they could not hold office. And when the great Massachusetts founding father, John Adams, went to the Constitutional Convention, his wife said, "Remember the ladies and be more generous to them than our forefathers." They didn't listen. But we are here leading the charge to make sure that women are explicitly outlined in the Constitution, that we finally ring true the words of a government by, of, and for all the people, and that all men and women are created equal and endowed by their Creator with inalienable rights. It is finally time the ideals of this country become true for all of its members, particularly 51%. Thank you all very much for continuing in the fight.
All right, and now we'll hear from Margaret Mitchell from the YWCA.
Thank you, Congresswoman Pressley. My name is Margaret Mitchell, and I'm President and CEO for YWCA USA, and we were here 100 years ago. And we are here today, but not one day more. You know, young women ask me all the time, why do I have less rights than you had during your lifetime? And we need to respond with the ERA. This is not only important for American women all over this country, it's important for every single woman on this planet. The time is now, and I look forward to celebrating with all of you when it is ratified.
Thank you, Margaret. And now we'll hear from Virginia K. Solomon from the League of Women Voters.
My name is Virginia K. Solomon. I'm the CEO of the League of Women Voters of the U.S. You know, we're here and we're all saying time and time again. I remember we were just on the other side of this building in the summertime, and I said winter was coming. Winter is here, and we will not wait another year to have equal rights. And I just want to name some of the hypocrisy that happens in the building behind us. Because there are many people who say we are the greatest country on this earth. And that's possible. But how can we be when women do not have equal rights? So to fulfill the promise of this country, that discharge petition must be signed by every member of Congress. We must hold them accountable. 2024 is just around the corner, and I know one thing. On Election Day 2024, if they have not signed, we have one charge ahead of us: to vote every single one of them out of office. And I'm going to tell you one more thing. If you ever had any doubts about the power of women, I am here to tell you that we can do that, and we will do that. So I ask each of you to remind your legislators, talk to everybody you know, 10 people, every single person. Call your member of Congress and then have them do 10 people. We need strong organizing behind this because we can make it happen. We're so close. In fact, we're already there, except for some people who just, for some reason, don't want to see women and the LGBTQ community and men all have the same rights. But we can do this together. And so I ask all of you, if you do nothing else as you go home for the holidays, organize, talk to everybody you know, remind them about this issue. Because when we work together, we do what?
Win.
When we work together, we do what?
Win.
And we're going to win the ERA. Thank you.
Tell you what, I never doubt the power of women, especially when Ms. Solomon is on the front line, being a foxhole with you any day. Okay, all right, now we'll hear from Gloria Blackwell from the AAUW.
Thank you so much. I'm so pleased to be here in front of all of you, and I thank all of our esteemed leaders for making sure that we have this opportunity. I'm here on behalf of AAUW, the American Association of University Women, because we are honored to stand alongside all of you to finally get the Equal Rights Amendment recognized as part of our nation's Constitution. Shout out to AAUW. AAUW has a strong history with the ERA. Our members marched down these very same streets more than 50 years ago, right? Trying to fight for constitutional equality. And we cheered in the gallery in Richmond when Virginia became the final state to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment. But as you've heard before, in 2023, women are still fighting for our rights. We are still fighting against inequity, okay? And so on behalf of AAUW members, our supporters, our alumni, we stand in solidarity with all women and girls. And we are here to say what? Not one more minute, not one more hour, not one more day, and certainly not one more year, okay? We've been at it for 142 years. And we're going to keep at it. We're going to keep advocating. We're going to keep lobbying. We're going to keep fighting until gender equity is fully recognized and the Equal Rights Amendment is enshrined in our Constitution. Let's go for it.
Rain or shine, we will enshrine. Okay. All right, and now we'll hear from Shalina FND. FND. I know her. Generation Ratify.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman Pressley. Fellow champions for gender justice, good afternoon. How are we doing today? My name is Shalina Effendi. I'm a college freshman from Houston, Texas, and an organizer with Generation Ratify, a youth-led movement of thousands of young people from communities across the United States organizing for the Equal Rights Amendment. We are building our generation's feminist movement, a movement of young people and students who will not rest until we are included in the United States Constitution, who will not rest until Black and brown youth, queer and transgender youth, youth seeking abortion, and youth seeking a world free of gender-based violence are protected by our nation's most foundational document. I stand before you today as a young person who demands the end to my intentional exclusion from my country's constitution. I stand before you today as a young person who demands for the National Archivist, for President Biden, and for every single member of Congress to step up, deliver for the young people who got you elected, and to do what should have been done 100 years ago. Publish the Equal Rights Amendment. It's been 100 years. We say not one more. I represent a generation that refuses to accept the status quo, a status quo that robs us of our freedom, rights, and equality. We are the torchbearers of change. We are carrying forward the flame of justice ignited by the trailblazers before us who fought for women's suffrage, civil rights, and LGBTQ+ rights. Adding the Equal Rights Amendment to the Constitution is not just a legal formality. It is a critical step towards dismantling the systemic barriers that persist in our society. And an acknowledgement that we are a nation that values the dignity and worth of every individual, regardless of their sex, gender identity, sexuality, or gender expression. Today, I joined dozens of young people to meet with our legislators to demand their vocal support of the immediate publication of the Equal Rights Amendment and encourage them to join Congress's 5th largest caucus, the Congressional ERA Caucus. Yes, led by Cori and Ayanna Pressley. We also asked them to support the Ceasefire Now resolution championed by 2 of our biggest ERA advocates in Congress, Congresswoman Cori and Rashida Tlaib. This is the conclusion to a year of historic action for young people in support of the Equal Rights Amendment. We shut down streets like Constitutional Avenue, hosted teach-ins in our schools and communities, walked out of our classrooms, published op-eds in local papers, convened in Seneca Falls, and advocated for local and state measures to support our constitutional gender equality. Now we are marching across DC with our intergenerational cross-movement coalition to demand not one more generation. As we close out the centennial year, we must reflect on the progress that we have made and acknowledge the work that lies ahead. This is a call to action, a plea to Congress, President Biden, and the National Archivist to fulfill a promise that was made a century ago. A promise of equality, justice, and a nation that stands for the fundamental principle that all individuals are created equal regardless of sex. Let us show our elected leaders that we see them. We see their inaction, and we will not stop until they put us in the Constitution, ensuring that the ideals we hold dear are not confined to the pages of history, but are etched into the very document that defines our nation. Together, let us pave the way for a future where the aspirations of young people are limited only by their imaginations and not by the constraints of gender. The time for equality is now, and as a united front, we can make history by building a future where gender justice is realized and guarantee not one more generation. I said not one more what?
Generation!
Not one more what?
Generation!
Not one more what?
Generation!
I know we're all here rallying, in the spirit of righteous indignation at this grave injustice. But every time anyone from Generation Ratify speaks, my cheeks hurt from smiling so hard. You all are just a source of great inspiration and strength and joy in this movement. Okay, and now we'll bring up another history maker and someone who has been so vigilant in this fight and unrelenting in every single way. Ellie Schmiel of the Feminist Majority.
Wow. Wow. Well, we have great diversity, and as I salute the young generation, I also salute the old generation. When we started this fight in this realm, it was 50 years. It was 1970 when we marched down New York City. It was the National Organization for Women, and we immediately took up the cause of the Equal Rights Amendment. And we kept at it. And at that time, I just want you to know all the changes. We were 3% of the members of Congress were women. 3%. They thought that a lot of what we were doing was a joke. They should have given it to us. We've now taken many, many more steps towards full equality. As the wrap up here, I know that we are going to go out and get millions of signatures on the sign up for ERA. But also I want us to remember another number. At this moment, we have 201 signatures for the discharge petition. We only need 218. That's 17. We got to concentrate on that. We're going to blast this thing out of the House. And remember, when we started in 1970, actually that campaign started in '67. But anyway, we had to have a discharge petition. It wasn't. It's been sitting in the Judiciary Committee for 41 years. Well, it's not 41 years because we don't want one more year. We are going to get that out on a discharge petition, and if it doesn't, we will remember in November of 2024. At the same time, we are going to keep the majority in the Senate. We believe we have a majority in the Senate. And that resolution, and it's the identical wording of the Pressley Amendment, is very simple. It is affirming that the Equal Rights Amendment has been ratified. And that's what we need. So it is almost there. You can just feel it. In fact, we can, and to think that, oh my gosh, what else we're going to do? With all the young, with all the old still hanging in there, we are going to do what? Ratify and publish the Equal Rights Amendment. And we're going to do more. We're going to enforce it once it's established. It's not going to lie there. So we got a lot of work to do, but this was an inspiring day, an inspiring march. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to win. Thank